A dark morning, when the course of history was about to change, on 1st September 1939 at 4:45 in the morning, the German warship SMS Schleswig-Holstein started firing on the Polish coastal town of Westerplatte. This was the moment when Hitler's troops ignited the fire of attack on Poland, and the first spark of World War II captured the world in its grip. But this did not happen suddenly. Behind it were years of conspiracies, false propaganda, and a fanatical leadership that wanted to trample the world under its feet. Hitler's dream was Lebensraum, living space. He wanted Germany to expand into Eastern Europe and enslave the Slavic peoples. Poland, which was stretched into a wedge between Germany and the Soviet Union, became his first target. The Treaty of Versailles of 1919 had given Poland the Danzig Corridor, which separated Eastern Germany from the rest of the country. Hitler considered this an insult. In 1938, he had shown his power by seizing Austria and Czechoslovakia, and now it was Poland's turn. But before launching a direct attack, Hitler needed a dramatic pretext. On the night of 31st August 1939, commanders of the German SS staged a fake attack called Gleinig. They attacked a German radio station on the Germany-Poland border while wearing Polish soldiers' uniforms and falsely portrayed that Poland had attacked Germany. This was entirely staged, even using the bodies of dead prisoners who were dressed in Polish uniforms under Operation Himmler. The next morning, Hitler announced on the radio, "Poland attacked our territory for the first time last night. We will answer this fire with fire." At 4:45 in the morning, the German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, began bombing Polish cities. Heinkel He-111 bombers rained fire over Warsaw, Krakow, and Lodz. On the ground, 1.5 million German soldiers attacked from 5 different fronts. This was the first full test of Blitzkrieg, lightning war. German General Heinz Guderian's tank divisions broke through the Polish border defenses. Panzers III and IV, which were far more powerful than Polish tanks, advanced like a storm across the fields. The Polish army, composed mostly of cavalry and infantry, was helpless against modern weapons. The Polish Air Force was destroyed on the first day. Most of the Polish fighter planes, like the PZL-P.11, were outdated and weak compared to the Bf-109. Many planes were destroyed on the ground. Polish pilots fought bravely, but the difference in numbers and technology led to their defeat. Hitler also had a secret propaganda weapon. Under the leadership of Joseph Goebbels, the German media continuously spread false allegations against Poland, such as claiming that Polish soldiers had abused German women and children. These news stories were meant to prepare the German public for war. However, Poland was not at all prepared. Their general staff believed that France and Britain, their allies, would attack Germany from the west. But they were mistaken. Although Britain and France declared war on Germany on 3rd September, they did not take any military action, which came to be known as the phony war. Poland was left alone. On 17th September, while the Polish army was fighting the Germans in the west, another disaster arose. The Soviet Union, which had secretly agreed to divide Poland under the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, attacked from the east. This double attack crushed Poland's resistance. The siege of Warsaw continued until 28th September. Thousands of bombs were dropped on the city, and the supply of water and food was cut off. Polish soldiers fought from brick to brick, but by 6th October, Poland was finally defeated. The human losses of this war were horrific. About 66,000 Polish soldiers were killed, 133,000 wounded, and 694,000 captured. In the German army, 16,000 were killed and 32,000 injured. But this was only the beginning. After the occupation of Poland, the Nazis began confining the Jews of Poland in ghettos. The Warsaw Ghetto, where 400,000 Jews were crammed, became a dark chapter of the Holocaust. Interestingly, some unexpected events also occurred during this attack. For example, a legend about the Polish cavalry became famous that they attacked German tanks with swords. In truth, these cavalry units were against the infantry, and when they saw tanks, they retreated. Yet Nazi propaganda presented it as a comical incident. After the war, many Polish soldiers fled to France and Britain, from where they continued their resistance. Polish pilots played a significant role in the war alongside the British Royal Air Force, especially in the Battle of Britain. Hitler's attack on Poland was not just a military campaign. It was the emergence of a new warfare technique, which combined aerial bombing, fast-moving tanks, and motorized infantry. This strategy was later successfully used on France, Belgium, and other countries. But the biggest question remains, could this war have been stopped? Historians believe that if Britain and France had stopped Hitler's remilitarization of the Rhineland in 1936, or if Czechoslovakia had not been sacrificed in the Munich Agreement in 1938, perhaps Hitler would not have had the courage. However, the appeasement policies of the Allied countries emboldened Hitler. The attack on Poland not only devastated one country, but it also brought humanity to a new level of oppression and destruction. This was the point where Hitler's fanatical ambitions ensnared the whole of Europe, beginning a series of sacrifices of millions of innocent lives. After the occupation of Poland, the Nazis began confining the Jews in ghettos. The Warsaw Ghetto, where 400,000 Jews were crammed, became a dark chapter of the Holocaust. The Nazis formed mobile killing units called Einsatzgruppen, which shot and killed Jewish intellectuals and opponents. 90% of Poland's Jewish population, which was about 3 million, fell victim to the Holocaust. A little-known fact is that Polish mathematicians, including Marian Rejewski, Jerzy Rosiecki, and Henryk Cygalski, had succeeded in breaking the German Enigma machine codes in 1932. They invented a device called the Bomba that could solve the complex Enigma codes. Shortly before the war, Poland shared its research with Britain and France, which later helped Alan Turing and the team at Bletchley Park to decrypt German messages. After the Soviet Union occupied Poland, thousands of Polish officers, intellectuals, and prisoners were killed. In the Katyn massacre, approximately 22,000 Polish citizens were shot dead. The Soviet government initially blamed the Nazis, but in 1990, Mikhail Gorbachev admitted responsibility. Hitler's concept of Lebensraum was not merely limited to occupying lands. It was a plan to carry out ethnic cleansing and establish the supremacy of the Aryan race. After occupying Poland, the Nazis established the general government, where Polish citizens were made second class. Polish universities were closed, and intellectuals were either killed or imprisoned. At the end of World War II, Poland's borders were withdrawn. The Soviet Union occupied Poland's eastern territories, while Poland was given Germany's eastern regions, Silesia, Pomerania. This change forced millions of Polish and German citizens to migrate. According to historians, if Britain and France had confronted Hitler's aggression in the 1930s, the war might have been delayed. For example, in 1936, when Hitler remilitarized the Rhineland, France took no action. In 1938, Czechoslovakia was handed over to Hitler in the Munich Agreement. In 1939, attempts to form an alliance with the Soviet Union failed, after which Hitler signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. All these opportunities were lost due to the weak policies of the Allied countries. The attack on Poland was not just the beginning of a war, but the starting point of an organized campaign against humanity. About 20% of Poland's population, approximately 6 million people, lost their lives in the war, including 3 million Jews. Even today, the ruins of Westerplatte, the walls of the Warsaw Ghetto, and the camps of Auschwitz testify to this tragedy. This story is not just history, but a lesson in human arrogance, lust, and endurance.